Good evening. My name is Alan, and this evening in my time, I'm facilitating a session of Rapscallion. This is the third of 4 sessions of Rapscallion, the pirate PBTA game that's in Ashcan from Magpie Games, written by Whistler, and 3 or 4 as part of the Gauntlet RPG community's online calendar, gaming calendar. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, then I would certainly hope that you would look us up. Gauntlet-RPG will find us, and there you will find an opportunity to play in dozens of games every month online with people from all around the world. And while we are largely European tonight, we are not entirely European. So Rapscallion then is a set in a slightly mystical Pirates of the Caribbean kind of environment. That's definitely the field that I'm going for. So when this is not dark 18 plus stuff. This is more 15 to 18 with darkness implied and kind of challenged in many ways. The game has a really neat kind of world creation system, and so we have created the world in which we are playing. The stuff up at the top right here was largely created in the first sessions of Rapscallion I ran back in August, and then we have extended the world in this session. In session 1, we started up at the Pirate Haven. Had a bit of kidnap, had a bit of burning tavern, had a bit of escape. In session 2, we had a sea battle, and then we kind of took some downtime, some shore leave at the Black Port of the Restless Dead here. And all of this is in pursuit of our captain's desire to be the 8th Pirate King. And so we'll explain where we're getting to shortly. But right now, I think I will ask each of the players to introduce themselves. I'm going to go in reverse character keeper order, if that's okay. So can I start with you, Ferret? Can you say? Oh, by the way, I'm Alan. He, him. I've written it on my sheet, so on my little window, so I don't forget to mention it. Ferret. Say hello and tell us about Morgana.
Hello, I am Ferret, also known as Sawyer. I'll answer to any pronoun set with respect. I use he, him out of ease usually. I am playing Fiery Morgana, our very brutal artist. She is quite used to setting things on fire, even though she did not breathe the fire that set the tavern on fire in the first session. And last session, after a failed but very cool-looking special effect to fire cannons, she ended up at the Isle of the Restless Dead, spending a lot of money to store up food for her pet.
Yes, thank you. Her mink, her pet mink, who is the roundest, most stuffed mink in the whole world of Rapscallion. Thank you for that. If we can move along, Mario, say hello and tell us about Lucia.
Hello, my name is Mario. I'm using he, him pronouns. I'm playing Lucia Janssen, and she's a rich girl experiencing the pirate experience for at least a year. And she had to do quite a lot last session. She had to retrieve crucial information from a prisoner we have, or maybe rather a guest at that point. And she also met an old friend of hers, which is now a zombie doctor something that we didn't clear that out totally. And yeah. That's about it, I guess.
Thank you very much. Moving along, Will, say hello. Tell us about Percival.
So, my pronouns are he, him, and so are Percival's. And Percival is the Montebank. And he is a pirate who has not just the captain as a master, but 2 other masters as well. He has his demon grandfather that he grants him supernatural powers at the cost of his soul. And he also has the Sparrows, the secret assassin guild that gives him missions, which came up last session when he was ordered to kill the very same zombie doctor that Lucia grew up with. But fortunately, Lucia's affection and her kind words about his target stayed his hand, and pissed off, I imagine, both the Sparrows and grandfather, who wanted him dead as well.
Yes, and I think he's been left with grandfather, his demon, visiting hallucinations on him
Yes.
as a corrective measure, lest Percival begin to think that he has a mind of his own. And finally, Paul, say hello and introduce us to Captain the Count Klaus.
Hello, I'm Paul, he, him, and I'm playing Captain Klaus Wichmann, also he, him, the captain of the boat and the leader of the Merry Men. Last week, I orchestrated a boarding action where I hardly did anything myself, and the crew did all the hard work, and had a bit of shore leave where Percival dragged up some old things that I'd done imprisoning my old crew, well, selling them into slavery, and I wasn't too happy with that. But all's good in the pirate world. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I think if I remember correctly, you sold the members of your previous crew into slavery, but some of them didn't go quietly, and so they were killed and now haunt your ship, the Black Cat. Yeah?
Indeed, yes.
Indeed. Okay. So, Samantha Sansom, who you kidnapped, and is, as Lucia describes, or was, as Lucia described, your guest, has agreed to help you on your quest to find the thing that will make you the 8th Pirate King, Captain. But her deal is that she would help you so long as she could come along. And the other bit of information you've got on where this, whatever this is, this sign, this item, this, who knows, is you also, when you boarded that ship and took it, you discovered that the captain of that ship, Captain Magda, who Percy, I think, snuck up on and killed, that she too was in search of this, of becoming the 8th Pirate King. And you found her diary where she has been compiling all the information she could find on where it might be. And it turns out that Samantha Sansom was in the process of selling her services when you kidnapped her, and those are the services you now have. So I think what I'd like to do is just to have some establishing shots. I think probably it is nighttime. It is whichever half of the nighttime that your watch is asleep. So the captain is in his cabin. Morgana, Percy, and Lucia are in hammocks, probably in the gun deck. So I think we'll begin with one of those point of view shots that begins as we zoom in towards the ship, the Black Cat, as under a moonlit sky, it is heading south towards the Isle of Dread. And the camera will make its way down the main hatchway, down the steps to the gun deck where all the hammocks are to be located. And there we will see a number of spectral figures. And we will we'll approach one of the hammocks over which one of these spectral figures is looming. And the spectral figure is whispering into the ear of the sailor asleep in the hammock. This used to be my hammock. What will you pay for this occupation? And we'll hear this susurration as the same question is asked of perhaps a dozen different ghostly figures, which we are led to believe might be the dead part of Captain Klaus's former crew. And they are all whispering in the ears of those new members of the crew, because you took some of the crew from the ship you took and have brought them into your crew, and it looks like the specters of the previous crew are just making sure that in their dreams these sailors understand that they have a payment to make. Let us drift along the gun deck to where we see Morgana asleep in her hammock. Morgana, what are you dreaming of? There's no spectre near you because you know about these arrangements.
I think she's dreaming. I think she has troubled dreams tonight, which are not because of a specter, but because she lost some jewelry on the last sea battle. I mean, she was tackled by a bunch of people. And I think like she is in this dream, she's saying goodbye to all these faces and, like, you know, the people who are these people but aren't exactly the shape of dream logic. But everyone she meets is someone important in her life that she has now lost a piece of jewelry to, and she's saying goodbye to. And I think like the specter that did haunt her or does haunt her hammock is putting like a piece of jewelry beside her to try and comfort her, which is not going to be good when she finds, you know, the old dead guy's earring on the ship.
Yes, because you defined one of the superstitions, that is that if to lose a piece of jewelry on the ship is to invite bad luck and perhaps the death of someone associated with that piece of jewelry. So yes, I like that. And we drift on down the gun deck to where Percival is in his hammock, and we zoom into the face and we get a look at what Percival's dreaming of. What are you dreaming of, Percival?
I think that Percival is dreaming of his training back as a sparrow as a young boy, and the patrician's words, and you know, like you have your targets, boy. Like you must take them. And I think that, you know, he wakes like he sort of wakes up. You know, he comes out from the dream, and then I think that he sees a patrician sat in the cabin with him, perhaps, and he says, "You should always listen to your elders."
And I think the patrician's face melts into another visage, and the patrician in your dream says, "And this boy is your next target, and that face is one you will remember." And then we drift out of that. We're back on the gun deck, and we're heading a little further down to where Lucia is sleeping. Lucia, what are you dreaming of this night?
Lucia is having a fine dinner. She was very young at this time, so she does remember also the picture when Lucas was alive and also a young boy. And it's pretty much, it looks like the scene when they had dinner just recently, but at a way younger age. And they were having a lot of fun, having fine food. And on all of the sudden, a hand grabs Lucia and drags her away and is yelling at her that she would have to practice more with her weapon and learn more about foreign lands and trading business and all that stuff. And she just wants to chat with Lucas and is not as eager to learn as the teacher would like her to be.
I like that. And as she confides this in Lucas, and Lucas was her friend, a childhood friend, and as you're talking to Lucas, his face goes deathly pale, and the skin begins to rot and peel, and you see him transform into the zombie that he has now become. And that, of course, is why he lives on the Isle of Dread, where you met him last time. And then he takes out the Plague Doctor mask, the long, pointy mask, to cover this off. And echoing out of the plague mask comes, "You have to go, Lucia, but beware the curse. Beware the curse, Lucia." And as you're trying to ask him what the curse is, he just gradually drifts away into darkness. And then we're back on the gun deck, and we're heading towards the door that leads up the stairway into the corridor that leads to the captain's cabin. Captain Klaus, as we approach the stout oak door that is your cabin door, and we melt through it, and we can see the in the darkness, we can see hints of the slightly bad taste pictures that you have hung here, the ornate drapes that are in incredibly bad taste, and just through the drapes, we see a shaft of moonlight illuminating Captain Klaus in his bunk, because he has a bunk, not a hammock. And Captain Klaus, what are you dreaming of tonight? And I will remind you that you have a move.
You do not have to tell me. I know all about it.
Okay. Well, you can tell me later on if you want to mechanize this. But what are you dreaming of?
I think you see a very restless Captain Klaus. He's moving to and fro. You can clearly see that he has not slept well, and you can hear him saying, "No, don't fire the harpoon yet. It will kill us all, the Leviathan. It will take us down." And then basically you see him shoot bolt upright, but of course he hasn't realised that he's in a bunk. So you see him smash his head off the bunk and sort of fall out of the bunk. He grabs something, puts it round his midriff, and he stands and he's sweating profusely. And then he turns, he goes, "We must get to the Isle of Dread at full speed." And yes, I think I'm going to have a nightly prophetic dream. Something will come to me in that dream.
Now, that prophetic dream, a violent nightly prophetic. If you wish to remember your dreams, spend 3 luck or take a weakness. Now, I would remind you all, please, do reset your luck to equal your Spitfire. Also, make sure that you have the right number of bond boxes unchecked that matches your rank with various people, places, things. So, Captain, when we see you wake, I don't think you have 3 luck to spend. So, are you going to take a weakness?
I am, and I think I'm obsessed to kill. I'm going to say I'm obsessed to kill a man on the Isle of Dread. I think I need to kill Captain Tricky quickly. So you will see me run to the deck, shout "all hands on deck" in the middle of the night. "The mainsails, the mizzenmast, get it all down at full speed. We must get to Tricky. He tasks me, and I shall have him."
I think that's the perfect climax for our introductory pre-title scenes. As we see that Black Cat heel over under a weight of sail and begin to cut through in the direction of the Isle of Dread. Now, a prophetic dream, you need to kill him quickly. Now, do you want to add anything to that?
I think clearly we're going to the Isle of Dread, but to be honest, it's nothing to do with Tricky. We're going there maybe for somebody else, so this is going to be a huge sort of diversion to have to get to Tricky. So the dream, I think it will either be something to do with how we're going to get into the Isle of Dread, or maybe something about the person that we need to recover. Maybe.
I would like to leave the details of what, who, or where you need to recover slightly vague at this point. So I'd prefer not to put that on the table yet. What I'm happy to do, I think you already have a +1 forward with respect to one of the obstacles that you're going to encounter because of the diary of Captain Magda. And you have another +1 forward to spend, any of you, because you've all been part of the conversation, based on what Savannah Sansom has told you. And I think that what she told you, Captain, was that the route she is suggesting you use to get into the Isle of Dread is a small cove that is unguarded because it is infested with Leviathans. Is that people's collective memory? That's my recollection. So yeah, I think we'll have that +1 forward in dealing with the Leviathans, and another +1 forward to spend based on the diary. Is that okay? Okay. So the captain is part dressed, distracted, and he's marked obsessed. So compel at any opportunity, pursue your obsession, and that is until you make a demonstrable strategic mistake. Yeah. So whenever there's an opportunity, I will compel you. Now, just to remind you folks, you can resist those compels by using the move that's called Stand Your Ground. Yeah. Just so you know. So, right, I think the moon, we cut now to dawn, the sun comes up, and there's a call from the crow's nest, land ho! And by now, all of you are, the first watch of the morning, so you're all on deck. And it is the Isle of Dread. Can I start this time with the captain, go the other way down the list, and say, what is it that you see, or what did we see on screen, Captain, that tells us why it's called the Isle of Dread?
I think we're coming down quite a narrow waterway. We scamped across the front of the Isle of Dread, and indeed the entranceway is the teeth of a carved skull, hundreds of feet high. That's why it is the Isle of Dread.
So the front entrance of this is the mouth of the skull.
Yes.
And you're going round the back of that. Okay. Yeah. If I go along to Percy, what do you note as we approach the Isle of Dread that explains its name, Percy?
The wreckages of ships visible on reefs and rocks around as we approach.
And what does Lucia notice that helps us understand the naming of this isle?
There is some crazy birds flying above the isle. They look like vultures size-wise, but the shape is more like dinosaur kind of shape. So they have like rather bat-like wings or something. So there's some sort of monster, I guess.
I think we just go straight for pterodactyls. Why mess about? That the upper levels of the isle are infested with nesting pterodactyls. I like that. And finally, Morgana, what reminds you of why this isle is so named?
I think this is one of the reasons Morgana was hired on the ship. She is blowing a conch shell because she is the only one who can hear the songs of the Leviathans and use this conch shell to basically call back saying we are not a threat. But there are just myriad Leviathan calls in the oceans around the Isle of Dread.
I'm going to just put on the table, the captain has the Titan Killer Prime move, which is all about relationships with Leviathans. Mm-hmm. And I think as we've located Morgana's extreme effects around fire,
Okay.
I'd ask you less about what Morgana can do and more about the set dressing that tells
Okay,
us
then I
about
think she's
dread.
just dancing to the songs of the Leviathans.
Okay, okay. So we see the skull as the ship comes round. The angle of the sun on the skull will change from our point of view, and this dark domed shape structure with circling bird-like creatures gradually resolves into that skull. And of course, what Samantha has told you is that there is a back way in or a side way in, perhaps located near the jaw of the skull. Yes? Now, we know that the Isle of Dread is a prison because Captain Tricky is imprisoned here. Used to be the master of this ship before Klaus took it from him. And so it is then, we know it's a prison. As we come round to that cove, Captain, you can see the water is boiling. It is alive with Leviathans. What do you do?
I'm going to instruct all the crew to get the barrel of lard to the deck. Fill your ears. It's the song of the Leviathan that kills us, drives men mad, and drags them over the side of the ship. Get the lard and fill your ears, and man the harpoons and weapons, men.
So your approach then is going to protect the crew and get into this cove. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think that probably that's a decent solution. And so I think that we will see the ship, we'll see the men kind of holding arms like that. Captain, will you do a single stand your ground roll for the non-player character crew? Let's see how the rest of the crew behave. Because they are compelled to jump overboard unless this goes well.
Now, I can spend some bond with the crew, though, can't I?
You can.
Can I? Yeah. So, yeah, I would like to spend 1 bond with the crew, and I will remove that now. So here we go.
Just tell me, you can spend bond to assist or hinder them, add or subtract 1 to their roll. Is that the one we're going for?
Yeah, so I'm going to add 1. I rolled 9, giving me a total of 10.
How very convenient. So on a hit, you've escaped they've escaped the risk. They don't even have to take any of the disadvantages. So we see the black cat cutting through these, and maybe we see just tentacles roiling in the water and reaching up towards the ship.
Yeah.
But the crew are not.
I think for effects, I'm happy for one quite sort of feeble-looking guy stray a bit too close to the edge, and he just gets ripped off. But yep, most of the crew, we're perfectly fine.
And so we have you anchored at dawn in this quiet cove beneath the joint, the jaw joint of this Isle of Dread. Now, what's the plan? What I'd like each of you to do is to think about an obstacle that you're going to have to overcome. Now, I'll be honest, this is classic heist RPG. Each of you is going to come with an obstacle. My assumption is that it's an obstacle that will be targeted at your bit of spotlight. Because we all know that in Ocean's 11, everyone's going to have that moment when their expertise is essential. So give that a thought, and then I think I'll come back to it in a moment. I'll do a bit of scene setting while you have a cogitate. I think I see certainly the 4 of you being rowed ashore. The risk of taking the entire crew, Captain, is the Leviathans may get a little bit bold. without the threat of those harpoons. So I'm going to assume that it is the four of you that go ashore. You tell me if any of the named NPCs that we created last time are with you. Those NPCs are Bosun Hamnet No Smile Thorn, who's your bosun and aids you in polish rolls, is wild but loyal. There's Cannonball Rose, who aids with blood, is strange but is the ship's gunner, and I think that probably counts as harpooner as well. We have Mr. Flint, the healer. He's Dr. Flint, really. He aids with vinegar. He does healing. He helps heal the crew, but is rather weak and frail. Billy the cabin boy, I beg your pardon, who aids with Spitfire, is loyal, but again, not much use in a fight. We also have Kingsley the mink, who aids with Spitfire, is loyal, but again, not much good in a fight. Largely because he's stuffed with the foie gras that Morgana bought for him at the Isle of Dread, from the Dread port of the Plague Doctors. So, Captain, when you get into this prison, what are you expecting to find based on Savannah's intelligence and the diary?
I'm expecting to actually find an open prison, really, because the Leviathans tend to keep people in. Apart from one section, which is clearly like a small dock with a small keep, where the overseer and a small contingent of men are based. And I think maybe there'll be a small prison transport boat, probably about half the size of ours, but a seagoing vessel that's recently arrived to transfer, or it's only transfer. Once you're here for life.
I was going to say, can you leave it to me whether a new transfer arrives?
Certainly.
Because I don't think they'd leave a boat here, myself. So we've got a governor and a small group of guards, but largely those incarcerated here appear to be left to manage their own themselves. Yeah? Okay.
Correct.
So we've got trustees under a governor and a few guards. Okay. Moving along, Percy. What barrier does your research and your preparation suggest is going to need to be overcome from Percy's point of view?
I think that there are spirits that wander the Isle, those who tried to escape and didn't make it.
Yeah, because one of our wishes from last time is that we wanted a bit more overt supernatural and mystic stuff going on. So I think that's in keeping with spirits. Lucia, what have you picked out of the various investigations intelligence you've gained as a barrier?
Yeah, I also thought about the spirits. Yeah, I just go with like classic old pirate kind of movie. Like if we go for treasure, there needs to be some sort of Indiana Jones styled I don't know, trap or something.
Traps. Just traps. Yes. Okay, so we have traps. And finally, Morgana, what is there that you've picked out of this that might create that moment for Morgana to do her thing?
I think there just are barriers, but because this is an island, it's not like made of steel. It's not made of precious metals. They're made of hard wood, which burns.
Yes, that works for me. So I think then, yes. What I'm seeing then is you're in this little cove. There's these steps cut into the jaw, leading up to the ear, and then a staircase inside that comes up inside the stockade that is where most of the prisoners are kept. What Savannah will add to her suggestion so far is that she knows for a fact that what you're looking for is deep in the bowels of the island. She knows that it's behind a door marked with a particular sigil. And that is a sigil she will recognize, because it's clear when she said she wanted to come along, she wanted to come along. So as well as any of the named crew that you take along, Savannah is coming, because you will need to know when you found what you're looking for. Yeah. So I can't remember who created which member of the crew. I'm pretty certain that Captain Klaus invited No Smile Thorn. Is No Smile coming along, Captain?
Yeah, we'll have No Smile, and we'll also have Craw McCraw.
Yes, I'd forgotten about Craw McCraw, your foul-mouthed parrot. So we've got No Smile and Craw McCraw. Morgana, I'm assuming that Kingsley the mink is coming.
Kingsley is, but Rose is not, I don't think.
Okay, so we have Kingsley. How does Kingsley normally travel, Morgana? Because, frankly, those little legs on that rotund body, he can't make much progress on his own.
I think she has a special satchel lined with silk and vellum for his comfort.
Fine. Lucia, again, I can't remember who you created, but we have Mr. Flint and Billy the cabin boy left. Are either of those coming?
Well, I thought about Billy coming along, but then I remembered we have lines about violence against children, so rather not. I'm most certain he will die somewhere along the way.
I think that's probably fair. Percy, what about Mr. Flint?
I'm mostly thinking of these NPCs as people that I can stab in the back and leave behind. So I think Mr. Flint will stay, just because I'm glad that Mario caught that, because I was totally going to say, Percy the cabin boy is coming, so that I can throw him into the trap or whatever, walk over the body.
Here's a new red shirt for him to wear.
Exactly, yeah.
So we have Kingsley, Craw McCraw, and No Smile Hamlet, the bosun. So I'm going to cut, really, unless you tell me different, to you emerging in the compound. So there's a stockade at the top. There's clearly a way up from the mouth where normally ships dock to get to here. And there are tall towers, wooden towers, built around the stockade, from which a very, very substantial net is hung. And it's that's there to keep the pterodactyls out of the stockade. There are, I guess we're going to see some barrack buildings, maybe a small stone building where the governor lives. What do you do? Who goes first? Who's going to put their head up through this? I think because this is not a way in that they know of, I think it has to come up in their sewer. So who's going to be first up, looking out through the grating at this? Was that Percy volunteering?
I think Percy likes to go first. He's got his way, knows how to sneak his way around.
I have to say, my assumption was the captain wasn't going first.
No, leads from the back, captain.
So Percy, you can see the barracks and everything else. You can see the smaller stone building built into one side of this stockade. It's netted from above. What do you do?
I think I try and sneak up to see if I can, see if anybody's around, any guards, anything like that. Make sure the coast is clear for the rest of the crew.
So is that
Breaking in, I would have thought.
well? I was going to say, are you sizing it up to work out what the problem is, or are you just going to go to break in and try not to get caught?
I think it's
the challenge
breaking.
Sized up for you is that it's the demon's choice, isn't it? Really,
it is, yeah. And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm happy to do that if you would like to do some sizing up.
No, I think break in is. Let's cut to the chase. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
So that is roll plus blood.
That is a 8.
So on a 7, on a hit, you've gotten in. So you've quietly, this rusted old grill. And you are in the compound, but on a 7 to 9, you choose one of those. On a hit, you choose one of them, and then I choose something as well. So what do you want?
I want to choose that I hop from the frying pan to the fire.
Okay, I'll hold that one for a moment. And I think, given that we know you're going to get in the fire, I don't really want you to lose track. I can't think of anything really important to lose track of at this point. Or maybe I can, actually. We'll come to that. You leave evidence or attract attention. Well, you're going to be in the frying pan, so maybe it doesn't matter. I think that I am going to apply a weakness to you. And I think, given how disturbed and concerning your dream was, I think I'm going to make you exhausted. So from now on, you will roll with disadvantage with blood. Roll 3 dice, take the lower 2. Yeah, and that is until you get a rest, which strikes me as perhaps not immediate. Okay, so Percy's got up. You come out of this sewer pipe. You're behind the back of one of the barrack buildings. You've been able to see something. So he calls you all up, and all of you kind of come up one at a time. You're all there, and then from the direction you haven't been looking, somebody says, "Hello, what's going on here?" Who acts first? Oh, Lucia.
I think that's Lucia. Yeah. She's still feeling unstoppable, and she goes forward and says, "Well, hello, young man. We're here for the tourist tour. You know, like the attractions you've got here. We're here to see the dinosaur birds, and we're here to see the Leviathans, and we're here to see those grim, deadly prisoners you've got. So, would you be so kind and show us to the start of the tour? Because apparently we got lost. I frankly I don't really know where I am."
I think you're trying to hoodwink him. So that is roll with polish. And I will just remind you that Bosun Hamnet aids with polish. So having the bosun there saying, "Oh, tourists," is peculiarly going to give you +1 on the roll.
So it's only -1. That's yeah. We'll see how that goes. Oh, and it's a 7.
Well. Who'd have thought it? So on a 7, so on a hit, you've pulled it off. So he's going, "Oh, I didn't know they'd started them again." On a 7 to 9, you pick one. Will they catch on soon? Do you cause collateral damage? Your deception works too well.
Oh, just for the fun aspect of it, I want it to work too well so that we get all caught up within the tourist scam we try to pull off.
And yes, he introduces himself as Pegleg Wilkins. And when they did this more regularly, he was the chief guide. So I'll just go and get the others then. And it turns out that he's got a group of 6 who provide this tour, each of them with an expertise. One of them talks about the pterodactyls. One of them talks about, it's a rehearsed script that they know. And so they begin to lead you across the large exercise yard between the barracks. Now, we'll get to that point. Is there somebody who'd like to do something? Apparently not.
I'd like to actually peel off by myself towards the governor's residence.
Okay. So there are, the prisoners are kind of standing round. Some of them are tending allotment plots, growing their own food. Some of them are, feeding chickens. And there's kind of looking like this. But because there are very few guards, you really are just being shepherded. And Pegleg's going, "Oh, it's the tourists. They've brought the tourists back, lads." And soon there's quite an entourage coming in behind you saying, "Oh, have you heard anything about, Mildred from Glimmer Isle? I've not had a letter in a long time. Have any of you?" And so you are getting this conversation. I think that gives you the cover, Captain, for you to slip away. I'm not going to make you break out. I'm just curious what you're going to do.
I would like to get away from the group, and I would like to break into the governor's house.
So break in rather than knock on the door. I'm just asking.
I think breaking is more appropriate, even though I'm not particularly good at it. So yeah, I'm going to go for breaking.
What do you mean not good at it? You look like the perfect stealthy, sylph-like breaking and entering kind of guy.
I'm a massive, thick, fat man. Dressed in gaudy clothes.
Indeed, you don't stand out at all in this crowd. So let's have you try to break in then. Roll plus blood,
which is -1. So here we go. But I rolled 8.
Wow, you lot are getting really close, sailing very close to the wind, to apply a nautical metaphor.
It means we're good role players.
Yeah, I love the gauntlet. Play to have fun, not play to win. Winning's nice. So on a hit, you've gotten in, but the fate you choose one of those things.
I'm going to go for I think I'm going to suffer some harm. Basically, I'm climbing through a window that is clearly not my size at all. So I will rip some of my pantaloons and sort of gash my leg.
Fine. Take 1 harm. And I've been thinking about the one that I had on the shelf from Lucia's 7 earlier on for this. Sorry, for Percy's. And I think that you have collectively lost track of something. You lost track of Savannah. And the 3 of you that are with the tour group are kind of, shit, where's Savannah gone? And as we see the captain get in through the window and then look back at the crowd to see he hasn't been spotted, he's looking like that and then cut back to them saying, "Where's Savannah gone?
Where's the captain? Where's the captain? Where's that lass?
Has the captain gone with Savannah?" And so the captain is inside. I think I'll make this the scullery at the back of this kind of. It's not a grand house by any means, but it has 2 floors and it's got several rooms. Now the tour guides, they're now saying to Lucia, now said Pegleg, this is Davy Bones, and Davy is our what's the phrase we used? Our guard liaison officer. And so I'll just go. He'll just pop off and get the sergeant out to kind of do the official bit in, because we're not allowed in their barracks, for obvious reasons. And so Davy Bones is sent off to a slightly more substantial barracks, which has the shield and crest of the Navy, the bucket heads above it. Morgana, what are you doing at this point?
I think there is that one tour guide still there, and like several of the just the prisoners that are surrounding us, asking for information on their people. And I think she's going to try to be social, which is not going to work. But I think she starts like one comes up to her. It's like, no, I've not heard of them. But then like she begins lilting her voice, starting to sing some. Like then starts like, I'm one of the Unbound. I've been to many islands. Just if you can tell me where this, and she starts describing Captain Tricky is, maybe I can tell you about your loved ones that I've performed for.
Oh, Tricky. He's kept with the special prisoners down below.
Oh, and is that on the tour?
Oh no, they're down below, says Pegleg. Oh no, they're down below. Oh, we don't go down below, miss. No, down below. Oh no.
And I think she looks around and looks at Lucia, and then I think this is the first time the camera points in, and she has the earrings that Lucia gave her in for the first time, and like they are beautiful and so stylish. Like, my mistress has to see what is not on the official tour. She is, and she'll like, I think, drop like badly butchering Lucia's last name. And to not see down below would break her heart. What can any of us do to get down below? I think I'm parlaying, or
I'll be honest with you. I think that they will say to you, "Oh well, when the sergeant comes, he might be able to get you down below, but we can't. We just can't."
Okay, and she.
So I don't want to waste your time with a roll.
Yeah, and she grins, and like with that, it's like, okay, I'll talk to the sergeant, and just immediately, like, that is, you are done. You are no longer of use to me. Goes back to the group.
And that, I think, is when we see a rather portly blue coat with a kind of stained uniform, and you have, and he comes out through the door and says, "Who the fuck are you?" What do you do, Percy?
I think I look around and go, we be the tour.
That's right. That's no way to speak to a lady.
I will just, I have to kind of remind us of the current look of the lady, just so we don't get too carried away.
Can I throw that out there? It's like building off that. This be Miss Jansen, traveling in disguise to avoid freebooters and brigands along the high seas, but she couldn't pass the Dread Isle without seeing it herself.
So I think you are trying to hoodwink Sergeant Grissom.
Mm-hmm. I think I am trying to hoodwink Sergeant Grissom. Now, I have a -1 in it, but with bond, you can use it to. Someone could spend bond to assist me to add or subtract 1 from their roll, from my roll. So, are we saying that's after the roll? It doesn't really specify. Before?
No, and my preference is that if the narrative is fun, we'll let it happen. So if somebody wanted to spend some bond with Percy to step in and do some good, and remember, good old bosun no name is worth 1 on a polish.
Oh, cool. So that could be a whole +2 to polish then, if
somebody would burn a bond with Percy. Any volunteers?
+1 even.
I am willing to burn a bond if that is okay.
And what does that look like in the fiction?
Yeah, I think Morgana comes up and like crosses her arms, and we are the bodyguards of this fine lady. She will. What woman of that nature needs bodyguards? She is, of course, precious.
I'll roll then. That is 7, 8.
8. So Hoodwink, on a hit, you've pulled it off. On 7 to 9, pick 1. Narratively, I think there's only one of them that applies. I'll be honest with you.
Yes, I do think they'll catch on soon. Is the natural one to choose here.
So I think you've got some breathing space. And during that breathing space, I want to cut to the captain in the scullery of the governor's house. Captain Klaus, what do we see you? It's a scullery with quite a decent kind of selection of canned and jarred and bottled goods, just by the by.
Well, no man should face action or enemy on an empty stomach. So some of those fine sausages just there. Oh, and a wee drink. So yeah, you'll see him stuffing himself to some degree. And he's got a lot of sort of sausage fat sort of in his beard and drip him down him. Does anybody come into the scullery?
Well, bear with me a moment, because I think that you have just made a strategic mistake. And so you can untick the weakness of obsession. So the captain, rather than getting on with the job, is stuffing his face. So I think the strategic mistake is that it's left to the three of you to sort out what happens, because the captain has absented himself for a little while. What do you do with that breathing space you've got? Because we know what the captain's doing with this plot breathing space. Lucia, let's start with you, because you are the lady. You should be taking the lead in this, I would have thought.
Well, I'm a lady of such a nature that my servants speak for me, so I don't do much talking.
Well, do you want to nominate then?
Yeah, I think my spokesperson would be Morgana.
Yes, you're -2 polish. I could see you bending round that bullet. Morgana, the ball is in your court.
Yes, I think Morgana will keep the sergeant up, and I think she'll try and make it so Percival is behind the sergeant, literally right behind him, should anything happen. And it's like, my lady was here with a lesser noble. I don't know the titles myself. You see, I am not one for such pleasantries. I'm lucky to be on this ship, but this Savannah Sampson is of use to us and has absconded from the tour.
Oh, Miss Sansom. My goodness me. I didn't know she was here.
And that's the thing. We need to protect her as well. I think that maybe the guards should go on the lookout for her. Except for the ones giving us the tour. We'll meet up afterwards.
Oh, well, and the sergeant wobbles over to the guards barrack, and there's a bell hung by the ding, 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 and the guard turns out, which is 4 blokes and a dog. and none of them, there's these are obligatory caricatures. So we've got the fat, slovenly one, we've got the thin one, we've got the guy who only has one arm and can't really handle his musket. We've got the dog who looks by far the brightest. We've got the one who's cross-eyed. We've got the one who's going, what? Did that bell ring?
The veteran.
So they've turned out. Is this parley here, Morgana? Are you trying to get them?
It is.
So what are you offering them? What are you implying that they get out?
I'm implying that if they find Miss Sampson, because she is a delicate, precious flower, that she would be in their debt if they return her to us.
Right. Men, 10, shoot! And they kind of wobble and come to order. And he says, each of you take 3 prisoners and begin an orderly search of the entire compound. Roll the dice.
I think I'm having the Hammett, growl and nod vigorously behind me with every word I say.
That's the +1 plus whatever you've got.
I got a 7. Again, we are against those sales.
You are just whoa. Offer something. We know that roll plus on a 10 plus they take your offer. The fates may offer something more. On 7 to 9, they want to see you hold up your end of the bargain first, or they change the terms. I think that before, as he's getting this organized, to really sell this idea to the sergeant, Sergeant Grissom, I think, Morgana, you're going to have to come up with some interesting snippet about Miss Sansom.
Ooh. Oh, Miss Sampson is trying to, like our fair lady who's experimenting with the pirate life, our Miss Sampson has been having a mister. You don't hear that term very often, but our Captain Klaus has her decked out in the finest of his choices, and I think having both of a pirate captain and a lady in your debt and your discretion will be fun.
I think that's good enough. I think that he's convinced that you actually know Savannah Sampson on that basis. And so the prisoners with one of the guards begin to disappear off. You can hear doors banging and also leaving the 3 of you in the middle of the compound. And I think that might be the point for us to take a 5-minute break. Yeah, they're off searching. Captain Klaus is about to finish the last sausage in the larder. And it's 5 past the hour now. If we came back by 10 past the hour, is that okay? Fine. See you at 10 past.
So, has anybody an idea how our flag looks like? Because that's a crucial thing, that a captain has like a certain personalized Jolly Roger kind of
It's got to have a
thing.
cat on it, hasn't it? It's literally Le Chat Noir, you know? Like, in this universe, we created Le Chat Noir.
A cat with a bib.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm late. You really should, when you're making tea, turn the kettle on. Yeah. So we see the compound being searched. Captain, you finished the last sausage. What do you do?
Time to put the plan into action. Let's find the governor or his daughter and wife.
So you begin a stealthy or less stealthy search of the property.
I think less stealthy. I'm not a very stealthy type of person, so just a general sort of wander about, sort of picking things up, throwing them over the shoulder if they look cheap.
Pocketing them if they don't.
Of course.
Kicking a door open here, shoving another door open there. Meanwhile, in the compound, the troops are reporting back to Sergeant Grissom. Not in the kitchen, sir. Not in barrack 1, sir. Not in barrack 2, sir. And gradually it becomes clear that she is not in any of the buildings spread around the compound. What do you do? Lucia, again, I'm going to give you first offer because you are the lady not in waiting.
Yeah, so I also have another question. Did we get around the traps already, or are they still in game?
Oh, I think I'm dealing with ruled by the trustees under a governor with a few guards and mostly wooden built at this point in the proceedings.
Okay. Yeah, because I think we're standing somewhere in a narrow path. We have stone walls to our left and right, and we hear this deep dull growling coming from down the road. And
because we've established that this is a fairly open space. It's an exercise yard in the middle of these wooden barracks. So it's a pretty open space. There's a single stone building, which is that one over there, which is the governor's.
Okay, I thought we were about to go down. Okay, so in that case, I just have a really tired expression, and I'm like, my feet start to hurt. Don't you have a horse or something? I didn't expect to run around on my feet all day long without seeing anything, really.
Madam, I'm so sorry. I should, of course. I was distracted by the loss of Miss Sansom. Please, I will escort you to the governor's residence. And unless Morgana and Percival interfere, he will offer his arm to Lucia and have her, this way, my lady, and lead you off to the governor's residence, which, as I say, is this 2-story stone-built shack, really. Morgana, Percival, you okay with that?
I think Percy will look over at Morgana and shrug and be like, trying to communicate silently that, well, let's go to the sergeant. So,
yeah, I think Morgana just sort of like rolls her eyes and looks at Hammett and grins, but we'll let Lucia be carried off or taken to the governor's manor for ladylike seating.
Well,
and what are you two going to do? Are you going to go with her, or are you going to loiter here?
I think Morgana will just look at Percival and smile. So, this enough chaos for you to do your thing?
Easily, my dear.
And she'll look at Hammett. It's like, okay, you've done a lot. Now let us do our thing.
And he's kind of, I don't know what you're doing. No trouble to me.
Man with a polished tongue, right there. Yeah. Do we know where we need to go within this area? Are we aware?
All that Savannah would tell you is that the place where this, whatever it is, whoever it is in the bowels of the Isle of Dread, deep in the Isle of Dread. So there is a sense of down, and you've got the idea, I think, from the conversation with the tourist guides that that there is a down below, but we don't go down there. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, for I think what I would like to do is I would like Percy to step behind a like a piece of, something to just obscure vision for a second, and I would like to.
There are the wooden barracks buildings.
Yeah.
It's sparse. It's a big area of exercise with some gardens and pig pens.
So literally all it is it's just to set the frame up where he steps behind the building and then hopefully steps back out again wearing the sergeant's face.
Okay.
When you've got one good trick, why not use it a dozen times, right?
So this is Dark Magician, I'm assuming.
Yes. So I roll plus Spitfire, and I need to spend luck. So 1 luck. What is it? Is it 1 or 2? It's 1. 6. I want 6 Astaroth, don't I? So yes, I'll spend my roll Spitfire, which is 8. So I will take
on 7 to 9. You roll 1d to determine which, and can take harm 1 to 1. We've changed that rule slightly so you can have more control over this. You take harm 1 for 1 to add or subtract the result.
I rolled a 1.
So that is 5 harm to achieve the 6 that you need. That means for a scene you may change your appearance via illusions.
Yeah. This might be a stretch, but so there's 3 Belias. For a scene I may create a chittering flying shadow servant who does your bidding, and I could say like lead on to the leaders deeper, but you know what? I think I'm going to go over that. I'm just going to take the harm, as I think Grandfather's not pleased with me, and this sucks I'm effectively like sucking my soul out to
yeah. And I think you might even get that whisper from Grandfather. See, boy, just be careful that you don't get on the wrong side of me, or I can make life painful for you.
And I think as he comes back out round the corner, he's like, it looks like the sergeant, and he, does a devilish smile and then goes, and coughs up blood onto his fingers, and he's like,
okay, what are you going to do with this illusion, Percy?
The nearest prisoner or guard or anything that's around, I'm going to go, you there, take us down deeper into the prison. We need your hand with something.
And he will say, sir, yes, sir. And he'll begin to lead you towards the governor's house, where the real sergeant and Lucia have just gone around the corner of the porch to the door. And Lucia is knocking on, and the sergeant is knocking on the door and say, Governor, important visitor. And Captain Klaus, at this point, you're inside the governor's residence, and you open a door and find there is a kind of scruffily dressed, but clearly of some quality, individual with his wig askew, lying on the floor unconscious. At which point you hear a knock, knock, knock on the door, and the sergeant says, I'll just take you in, miss. And the sergeant comes in to find you standing in the room with an unconscious governor. Lucia is just behind you, and approaching across the yard are Percival, in the guise of the sergeant, leading Morgana and one of the soldiers. I think it's probably a question of, Captain, what do you do when the sergeant comes into the room?
Excellent, man. I was going to go and get the doctor, but now you're here. It's your job. I've just arrived on the resupply boat. Yes, we're on the resupply boat, and I've just found the governor. Look at him. He clearly has drunk way too much wine.
And I think this is the point where they'll catch on soon becomes he catches on now. And he's fumbling for his pistol. Lucia, he's gone into the room in front of you. You can see past him. You hear the captain. What do you do?
I quickly walk up to him and just take his hand as I would like to dance with him and lead him into a pirouette. And once he turned around completely, my dagger is waiting to slit his throat. I'm just not sure if I'm quick enough.
I think that's called use a dirty trick where I come from.
Fine with
So
that.
Roll plus vinegar.
Ooh, that's a 6.
That's a 6. Now, Percy, you come round the corner because once it becomes clear where the soldier is leading you, I think in order to keep the illusion going, you need to kind of take the lead because you clearly would know where you were going. And so you are the first person round the corner to see Lucia with her dagger out about to do, but you spot that she is gonna not do it well. What do you do, Percy? Oh, go on, Lucia.
Would I have had to spend the luck before the roll, or is it only? Oh, it's only for a twist fate. Sorry.
Tell you what I can do is I've stood in front of him. Just as I see Lucia sort of pull out the dagger.
Hang on a second. Let me just check the rule because I think luck. Take +1 for. Oh yeah, you must spend luck before rolling.
Yeah, I'd like to use a bond to assist.
Okay, and what does that look like in the narrative, Captain?
We're pirates. I'm going to start doing a jig. While they're trying to do a dance, some sort of pirouette. I'm going,
and I think Sergeant Grissom, as he's being wheeled round, instead of seeing the knife coming towards his gut, looks round at you and swings round Lucia to turn that 6 into a 7. So on a 7, on a hit, your trick works at a cost. The cost is that I think that, let's see, what might be a good cost for you at this point?
Well,
no, go on.
Maybe just narratively, I feel like as he's been suspicious about us for a while, we exchange harm. I think
that's fair enough. I think because his pistol comes out and he lets go the pistol. Let's see, what harm does the pistol do? You are going to kill him because I think a dirty trick shouldn't be worried about how much harm. But his pistol, somewhere I can find that. No, I can't. Oh yeah, pistol. So you take 2 harm, loud, but it could be hidden. So there's this kind of. You go, and he goes, ah! You take 2 harm. There's a loud noise. Perce, you've come around the corner. You've seen all that. Literally half a step behind you is the other soldier, followed by Morgana. Percy, what do you do? Then I'll ask Morgana.
I whip round and stab the soldier in the throat.
I think that is probably a straightforward strike or shoot.
Would that not be my sparrow move? I can kill any unsuspecting human in a single blow.
You can. Thank you for reminding me of that. Of course, you are a trained assassin. And he is not expecting his sergeant to stab him in the throat. So I think surprise is complete. And Morgana, I think you just catch him under the arm and walk him around the corner out of sight. Yeah? And so we have a dead sergeant, a live sergeant, a dead soldier, and an unconscious governor, and Lucia going, ah! Whew. What, Morgana, you're last through the door. What do you do?
I think I'm going to close the door first, and I think she will close it. The latch on the door just swings down because she closed it hard, and she'll see Lucia. And since this is a PG sort of 15 style thing, I think the wound's not that bad looking. It's kind of the flesh wound thing, but I think the flames around her lips begin shooting up a bit, and she'll bend down and cauterize the wound.
Oh, very cool. Now, Lucia, I think I'll give you an option here. You can either keep the 2 harm, yeah, or you could take the exhausted weakness. What's your preference? Because I think
I'll just check on the weakness.
While rolling with blood, roll 3 dice, take the 2 lowest, and it will last until you get an extended rest, which probably means until you get back to the ship.
I think I take the harm because I also have flourish, and I need blood for that.
Fine, that's fine by me. But that won't get any worse. Bleeding stopped, all of that. So you're in the room with the governor, who's unconscious on the ground. I dare say some other soldiers saw the sergeant take you over to the governor's residence, so I think we can assume that pursuit is going to be some distance away. You've got lots of time now. So what do we see you doing? Captain, you've been there longest.
Can I just say to the captain, like the face flickers for a second and I go, Captain, you're one step ahead of us the whole time.
Well, I wouldn't be captain if I wasn't, would I, lads? But I'm afraid to say there's no food in the building. I've already checked for that.
Right, but we were looking for the yes, Captain, yes.
Of course, I know. Anyway,
can I just say, I think that's because I really like that interchange. That's a good character moment. Percy can have a point of luck.
Quick, get the doctor in here. We need some smelling salts and the skill of the doctor to bring this man round.
Sadly, you didn't bring Mr. Flint with you.
Oh, we didn't bring the
Hamlet is with you, and the 2 animals.
Fine.
Well, I just grab a glass of water.
How bad does the mink smell?
You take that back.
Better than you, says Morgana.
So I'm going to
better than the captain.
Of course. The smell of man.
I think Morgana looks down, sees the captain's bleeding leg, and stands up from Lucia. I don't have any bandages on me.
It's a mere flesh wound. I've had many in my time. A flesh wound, that is all. Now, wake up, Governor.
What I can tell you, now that we've had more than a kind of scene from a French farce with people coming in through doors and things not being what they appear to be, is that one of the bookcases is hinged out from the wall.
I would like to size up the governor. I would like to size him up. Bringing him awake, slapping him about a bit and saying, "Ha, governor, we have you."
So roll plus vinegar.
I don't have any vinegar, plus or minus. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, 11.
My goodness me. So on 10 plus, on a hit, hold 2. Spend hold 1-to-1 to ask the following questions. So what are you interested in, Cap?
I'd just like to zoom out actually and just talk a little bit of a mechanic here. So spend hold 1 for 1. Now on a 7 to 9, you get 1 hold on us. So when I spend my hold, you then get to spend your hold.
No, because
No?
on a hit hole 2, you didn't roll 7 to 9.
Yeah,
So,
I know. I just want to know about the 7 to 9 mechanic. So
I
on
see.
7 to 1, I hold 1, and you get 1 as well. And then it says spend hold 1 for 1.
Okay. What I think it means is that so if you roll 7 plus, you hold 2. Yeah. And that means you can ask 2 questions.
Yeah.
On 7 to 9, the person you're talking to, sizing up, gets a hold to size you up.
Okay, and so they sort of get one of those 5 questions, yeah?
Yes.
On us. Okay, yeah. That's all I wanted to know. Okay, zooming back in. So I would like to know 2 things. What aces does the governor have up his sleeve?
I think you discover a large ornate key hanging round his neck.
We shall take the said key.
And it has on it a sigil.
I would like to know, how could I get him to take us to that room? That doorway.
That's a good question. I think you could offer him passage off this hellhole.
Of course we can. Of course we can. Yes, we can take you to the mainland and you'll be free of this godforsaken Devil's Rock.
So Governor Broderick Garthside is prepared to, as you kind of slap him awake. Where did that awful woman go?
Don't worry. This awful woman took her place.
That enticing creature, Sansom. Where are you with her?
She's with us, not the other way round.
Well, she hit me over the head.
Well, you shouldn't have hard objects anywhere near her, that's for sure. It was your mistake.
And then we need to go, and he says, well, it's more than my job's worth, but it is a terrible job.
Can I, as the sergeant, lean forward and just say, Captain, these people have told us that he said that they could take us off the island, get us past the Leviathans. We don't have to be here anymore.
Oh, Grissom.
That we can indeed.
The opera at Saint Sucre again.
The ballet, Captain, the ballet.
just you and me, like it used to be. And so the governor will take you. Now, down below is the bowels of this great skull-shaped granite rock. And he says, we only go down here very occasionally when seriously important prisoners are brought out. And there aren't many down there at the minute.
Would that be Tricky? Is Tricky down there?
Yes, Captain Tricky's been here since, and he gives a date, which is kind of, the day that you took the cat.
We shall have Tricky as well.
And there are lanterns in the scullery, so a couple of lanterns that will light the way. And there's probably a bucket of torches kept in some pitch at the bottom of the stone stairs that lead down behind that bookcase. Now, the governor won't go first, obviously, any more than the captain would. So who does go first? Percy always volunteers to be first over the top.
Well, I mean, if I still look like the sergeant, it feels as though less questions will be asked if I still look like the sergeant.
I think because it lasts a scene, I think we've probably seen that out now. I think once he gets down there, I beg your pardon. Once you get down there, I think there'll be that initial kind of sergeant as he raises the lantern, and you turn around. It's not any.
And I say, he had to leave.
Who's bringing up the rear? By which I mean Lucia or Morgana, because I think the captain will want somebody behind him. But stop me if I got that wrong.
I think it will have to be Lucia. She still has to prove herself, and Morgana is much more useful up front as a battering ram than behind as a battering ram.
Fine. So I'm kind of seeing Percy ahead of Morgana, then the captain and the governor, and Lucia and Bosun Hamnet, or is Hamnet staying upstairs?
We'll leave him upstairs.
Okay, so he will watch the shop, keep the curtains closed and the door barred in case somebody else comes to have a look. But I think we will have a occasional shots back to the prison upstairs, just to show that clock is ticking, and at some point one guard's going to say to another one, "They've been with the governor a long time." But we'll come to that in a bit. So down we go. Percy, I think that because we're pretty certain that there are some traps here, I think it would be important for us to see whether you can get in or out of here safely.
Okay. So that is plus blood. That is a 9.
So on a hit, you've gotten in. So we see you making your way down. The governor says, "Yeah, you turn right here, turn right here." And in fact, Percy, you will begin to spot at intervals a scratch on the wall, and it could be a very angular S. I've just had a horrible flashback to 1966 and watching Journey to the Center of the Earth, the cartoon series on telly, where they were endlessly following Arne Saknusson's route to the center of the Earth. Sorry about that. So there's an S occasionally when there's a turning. A relatively recently done one. On a 79, the Fates choose one as well. You hop from the frying pan into the fire. That's what I'm going to give you.
Okay. And should I choose one as well?
Please.
I would like to leave evidence or attract attention. I would like to suggest that perhaps that evidence or attention attracting is more about where we were than where we are now. Yes, I think that's true. That will move that clock towards somebody invested in the governors a little bit sharper. This may be where we have that first scene where somebody says, "Have you seen a sergeant?" "Yeah, he went over to the governor's house with them touristy folks." "Oh, right. Oh well. We'll go and have a word in a bit." Lucia. I think, Lucia, I'd like to give you a chance to do something flashy. What do you do when the frying pan becomes the fire and the steps that you are on as you work your way down at the back suddenly go like that and flip downwards? What are you going to do that's flashy to keep you out of this pit trap? It is decades since I had anyone have to deal with a pit trap.
So is it only me and all the others are beyond the trap, or?
Because you're last. It's one of those really tricky ones that I used to find in dungeons in the late 1970s, where somebody at the front who's testing for traps with a pole causes somebody behind who isn't expecting it to suffer the trap. So I'm also looking for an opportunity for you to do something flashy, Lucia, to get yourself out of this.
That's one of these Indiana Jones moments where I grab my whip and use it as a rope once more. I think I just should have a bonus just for being really trained on it.
I'm prepared to give you +1. Well, actually, no, can't we just use your flourish? Doesn't that do something?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
When you make a roll with outrageous style, roll 3 dice instead of 2 and take the 2 smallest results to add a flourish, or the benefit of the 3 to actually get it done really well. Which move do you think this is? Break in, break out?
That's a really good question, because nothing really...
Twist fate?
Yeah, well, mostly. Twist fate would mean that something is appearing, right?
Well, find a flaw or vulnerability in your opponent, which in this case is the trap.
Oh yeah, right. So we could go with that, yeah.
So that would normally be roll plus Spitfire. But you are rolling 3 dice.
Yeah. So my lowest 2 would be a 7 plus 1 from Spitfire.
And your highest would be 8 plus 1 to 9. So there's no difference. You might as well go the lower 2 and add a flourish.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can we have Morgana turning around as she hears the stones rumbling through the corridor, and then seeing Lucia doing one of her signature swinging the whip and landing with a backflip moves? Just Spider-Man style again? Perfect.
That works for me. So if you do so and succeed, choose one. Do you mark all your luck? Do you clear? Because this is the first time I think Flourish has paid off for you.
Yeah.
Clear a weakness. Twist fate as if you'd rolled a 10 plus. Which, given that you're trying to twist fate, would seem to me that
I'm all about impressing Morgana. That's really my whole purpose here in this group.
Okay. Take 1 rank with them, and take +2 forward to woo them.
Yeah.
Your choice. Do you take the +2 forward, or do you add 1 rank?
Yeah, I take the +2 forward.
Okay. Will you write that down somewhere? Because I will forget.
I will.
So meanwhile, then back to the twist fate. On 7 to 9, you must spend 1 luck, or the fates get to answer the attached questions. So which question do you want to ask from the twist fate?
Well, I don't really have any use for any of the questions right now. But then I go with...
You notice something overlooked in this area that might help you. What is it? Or you find a flaw or vulnerability in the trap. Describe it.
Oh, can we have one of those scenes where we have the governor and we jump onto the governor and we slide down the slippery, not so much staircase anymore, just on top of him and use him as a shortcut because I don't want to hurt myself?
Fine. So I think then, because we need to incorporate the whip, is I'm going to suggest that the whip zips forward past the captain and just latches onto the governor's leg, and you pull him back as you are flipped forward, and it's him who takes the knock rather than you. Does that seem reasonable?
Okay.
Yeah. So Percy, you've gone down quite a few levels. Down you go, landing, stair, turn, landing, stair. Lucia, something you noticed is that there's, as the deeper you go, there's a kind of tingling at your hip. What do you do?
I double check that the tingling comes from the whip and not from a specter or ghost or anything.
It comes from the whip. The whip is giving off a slightly sickly blue-purple glow. And just it feels like pins and needles where it's touching you.
Then I just skip the captain and whisper into Morgana's ears. I did tell you about my cursed magical whip, right? Because it's reacting to something. You do know about magic and stuff, right?
You brought a cursed item onto the ship?
Well, you know, it's like math. So you have this cursed ship and you have the cursed whip, and that makes something positive, right?
You think I know math?
Oh, sorry. I'm really sorry about it. Well, it works like if there's something that's not so good and then there's something else that's not so good, it might become something really good.
I think, is this whip glow like visible to Morgana?
Yeah, absolutely. And Morgana, as well as the weaknesses in the character sheets, the rules come with an attractive selection of additional ones. And what I'd like to offer you the chance to do is to take a weakness called superstitious. I'm about to copy it into your notes section at the bottom. See what you make of that. Sorry, I missed the notes section. I shall put it somewhere else.
Ooh, I do like that.
When faced with magical effects, you are compelled to take a number of very specific and inconvenient superstitious actions. What I'm thinking of is that you know that you lost a piece of jewelry recently, don't you? Because we got that out of the dream sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a cursed whip around that's giving off a sickly. So I'm offering you superstitious. You can always. Can you see it now? I think you can.
Yes.
You can stand your ground against that. But then once it's in play, you can't stand your ground against magic.
Yeah, I think I will stand my ground, and I'm going to have to spend bond on Lucia to stand my ground.
That would make sense.
I'm trusting her to not put us in danger.
Yeah, I mean, of course you are.
So I'm going to spend 2 bond to get +2 to the stand your ground roll.
Fine. So roll +2.
Oh, I'm glad I did that, because again, we are riding the wind. It is a 7.
Now, on a hit, you've escaped your vices. So you do not have to take that superstitious weakness. However, you do have to choose one, which is you take a weakness, you permanently lose rank equal to the bond you spent. Clearly, she has not acted in the best interest, would be my interpretation of that, or you are in a worse position than before.
Oh. I think if I may work with Lucia, I don't think the curse affects the whip's wielder. I think it affects their lover.
Oh, now, interestingly, in that list of intriguing additional weaknesses, there is one called cursed.
Oh, please share that with us.
Okay, this is cursed. You have been cursed. You can't use luck until witchery. You have some kind of magical intervention.
Oh, yeah, I think the blue, maybe I will take that weakness, and maybe the blue stops fading, but Morgana's eyes turn from green to blue.
Fine. I like that. So cursed, you can't. So you cannot use luck until someone does some juju on you. Captain, you appear to have made your way now below the kind of constructed layers of this deep delve, and you're now in natural caverns and passages, which leads you to believe that you hope that you have left the traps behind. That's the only one you set off. Let's hope you don't set off more on the way out.
Okay, on that trap, sort of, Lucia swung across with the whip, because I would probably like to use the move, the white whale, with my obsession. I would actually like to permanently lose a rank with Lucia, and basically get 2D ongoing. So basically, she's swung off, and it's like, oh, well, that's another one. Last, we cannot help her. We cannot help her, lads and ladies. We'll have to go this way.
She is still with you, but certainly your trust in Lucia is clearly not, because she almost fell on you.
Oh,
Find her
terrible.
falling on the governor and you know, and causing a problem. And I think the governor, since she fell on him, is becoming increasingly a passenger. He's now limping heavily and slowing you down. Are you content to be slowed down, or are you going to leave him at the bottom of the steps?
He's got to stay. The obsession drives us. We wait for no man. We'll pick you up on the way back, Governor.
So your rank with Lucia was 1. Yeah, it's now 0. If you if you put a 0 in that bracket next to Lucia, that would be great. Well, not great, but it would be nice. No, it's not nice either. But you have now an extra, you'll be rolling 4D as the base for the rest of this pursuit of the white whale, the key to becoming the 8th Pirate King. Morgana. No, let me, because you've had a bit of doing with Lucia, and I think that I'd like to. Oh no, there's no point awarding Morgana luck. She can't use it. I'll forget about that. Percy, you're now in these kind of dank, dripping stalactites that drip, drip, drip. But there is some kind of subterranean fungus here, which means that there's a glow about the walls. What do you do, Perce?
I scout ahead. I like try and feel my way through the dark, through the thing. I peer for the right, for those markings that we're looking for to take us deeper in. You
still have some torches. You still have, because torches in these movies never go out until I want them to. So you're illuminating the wall, and we see you point, lowering the torch. There's an S scratched again. So you're still on track. I think, Percy, you will be the first to notice this. You turn round to tell the captain, yes, we're still on track, sir. And you're being followed by some shadowy figures. What do you do?
I pull out my cutlass, and I go, hold there.
Now, Lucia, you're still at the back. You see Percy at the front with his torch, turn round, draw his cutlass, and apparently address someone behind you. What do you do, Lucia?
Lucia is trying to flirt with Morgana, but she's also like turning her head all the time because the whip is acting pretty weird. So I'm a bit superstitious about this situation. Yeah, I just turned my head and tried to still act cool so that I'm not too surprised, because that wouldn't look good.
Because you've got a lantern at the back there and you're nearer to these shadowy figures, when you turn around, the first thing you notice, do you remember that enormous pirate you killed when you boarded the walrus? He's standing at the front of a group of sailors. What do you do, Lucia?
Does he look alive, or like a real person, or like a ghost?
He certainly smiles at you and goes, "Hello, sweet cheeks."
I'm still in a bit of an looking cool acting mode, and I'm going like, put my hand towards him and, "Begone, foul spirit, or I will send you into the depths of hell."
And I suppose my obvious question is that just for show, or do you have a mechanic in mind?
Well, I'm just, I pretty much just give him a chance to turn around, or I will use my cursed whip, because that seems like people that return from the dead need to get the whip. Like, yeah.
And I think with Percy's challenge and now your very clear challenge, I think everyone will turn round and see that the passageway behind you is crowded with people, many of whom you recognize. So, for instance, Percy, on the shoulder of this big pirate is Captain Magda. There's you remember all those pirates that you blew away with your fire breathing Morgana, and they disappeared off the deck of the Walrus. You can see these slightly burned figures in the back of this group. Captain, I don't think you've actively killed anyone in
The
this.
captain
theater.
never kills a man. The crew kill the men.
Yeah. And so I think that probably you will see these people, but also the members of your previous crew that you killed, who normally haunt the cat. I think at that point, we have to have a cliffhanger commercial break. So it's 57 minutes past the hour. Can we be back here? What about? Yeah. Can we make it 5 past the hour? Fine. See you then. Okay. Oh no, sorry. I thought a ferret was back as well. I've just been checking out because I noticed that Percy is down to 3 health out of 8. If you check out those drop-down boxes, because some of you won't have to use them yet, some of them have an asterisk next to them. When you get to one with an asterisk on it, you are done for, which means that you are compelled to be knocked out, do little, but as I think it says in the rules, beg or crawl. And of course, you can always stand your ground in the face of that compel. But I just wanted to point out that there is a threshold above 0, which could be important to you. And I was just wondering, Percy, I offered Lucia the chance to have the cauterization of Morgana's wounds converted from a hit to health into a condition. I think I should, assuming Morgana would be, comfortable to breathe on your wound, I could offer you the same option.
Well, I don't think my wound was physical, so
Fine.
like it was spiritual.
Okay. It was coughing up blood, wasn't it? So okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. Right. So so there's this group of shadowy figures, and now that you're kind of all looking at them, you've got light. They are substantial, but they all have the wounds that you gave them, so to speak. So Captain Magda's throat is clearly cut. I think one of her lieutenants, you emptied a pistol into Percival when you crashed into her wardroom. And so, there's one of them with a big kind of hole in his head. Half his head is blown away. And of course, it's the half that's away from the camera. So we get a hint of it, but we don't see the whole thing.
I feel like this corridor is very crowded with Percival's victims.
Indeed. And further back, because there is a sense in which they're kind of time linked. So the most recent victims are closest to you. At the back are members of Klaus's crew. And beyond that, scattered across in the corridor, are a number of Percy's other victims from before we started playing. So, Captain, what's your reaction to this?
It's easy. You've beaten them once, lads. You can beat them again. Now get in there and do them over, lads. So I would like to command the crew.
Fine. These are all PCs, but you still roll plus polish.
I rolled 8, giving me 10.
Remember, you're using 4d6.
Well, I got 10 just on 2.
Well, there you go then. Well, stop showing off. So on a 10, they're compelled to do as you say, as long as they're pursuing the goal and you are present to command them, then get 2 advantages. So which of those 2 advantages do you want to give everybody?
I would like them to all have 1 temporary rank with the enemy.
Okay.
So they can
if
spend
all
that.
of you just put enemy bracket 1 and mark a box.
And I would also like so that they health checks and weaknesses have no effect.
Fine. So you can ignore, for the purposes of this conflict, the effect of any weaknesses you currently have, or any health. So that might be handy for Percy, who's been notching them up like fun. And not even the curse matters to Morgana at this point, because these are clearly the undead of some description. So what's a cursed whip? Who wants to do something first? Morgana.
Yeah.
I want to tie into my Matelo bond mechanic, as I think I am close to Percival, am I not?
You are.
Yeah, so I am going to twist fate by grabbing his little black book of of people he has killed and needs to kill, rip out a handful of pages, blow them towards the undead, but of course I have the breath of the dragon, so I light up all the sins that we may see that these dead people may have. Basically twisting fate to try and...
Okay. So is this when you protect a crewmate from a terrible fate? Is that what we're looking
No,
at?
I'm using the other one. When I break
sorry.
something precious to them, they either erase a bond with me or gain a bond with me.
Fine. Okay. Well, shall we first determine they add one rank or you lose
Rank,
one rank
yeah,
with them,
yeah.
their choice. So
Correct.
Percy, I'm going to let Morgana grab your little black book because it's too good not to. Do you want to add a rank with you or have them lose a rank with you?
I think I add a rank with them. They add one rank with me.
You add a rank with me.
I add a rank with you, yes, because I think that Percy's a bit shocked that you're aware. You know, that book tells him where to go and what to do. You're not supposed to know about it. Like, yeah, and then, like, you know, but you didn't. You're not disgusted by how many names you see Euston crossed out in there. So,
And of course, there will be that little flashback to her seeing you leafing through the book. And you know, and there's the front pages are all those ones that are crossed, you know, cross, and those are the pages that she throws ahead and lights up. So, twist fate, Morgana.
And yes, Lucia.
Can I assist?
Well,
because
go on. What do you think?
Because this kind of situation, we're in a small corridor. We have like so many enemies facing us, and we established that there comes sort of a magical kind of wind thing with the whenever I use my whip. Can I use that bit of wind to boost the dragon breath?
So you are going to spend luck then before the roll to add 1 to Morgana's roll. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So Morgana, you have +1 forward.
I have +2 because I am petting Kingsley, who aids with Spitfire.
I think that we probably see Kingsley tearing the pages out the book.
Oh, cute little mink. Fat little ball. Oh, I am glad. That is a 12.
Ho, ho, ho. So on a hit, pick one of the following options.
I find a flaw or vulnerability in my opponent, and I get to describe it.
You do. So for the victims, the Percy who's present from his little black book, because the officer and Magda weren't in his book, but for the rest.
I think the weakness in our enemy is that they like this does seem like supernatural spirit based, but maybe they can't be killed by the person who killed them already. But if you haven't killed them, they're fair game.
Can I actually make it more than that?
Oh,
because that doesn't that protects him a bit, but it doesn't really unbalance this in your favor. I'd like to suggest that they are as you put it first, you said confront them with their sins. And I think they go up in a puff of smoke.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of these at the back who are going to add weight to this, who I think just go because you have confronted them. You have thrown their sins at them, and they suddenly realize maybe they deserve to be dead.
Ooh.
Is that okay?
I like that. Yeah.
Okay. So some of them just go, and it's like the cinders in the paper that you've sent burning, because the flame kind of just goes past the others, but it's like each of them just kind of evaporates in a little cloud of cinders. Percy, that was a bit shocking, but what are you going to do?
I think I'm going to leap forward and attack the big guy who Lucia killed. Who's obviously one of the ones still standing. So yeah.
And Lucia, your whip, you kind of, I guess I saw you doing some kind of circular motion with it to focus this forward on them. So I'm not going to come to you until I go back round, because I think that's you and Morgana's move sorted. So Percy, is this a straightforward strike or shoot? I think you see you coming.
Yeah, this is a straightforward strike or shoot. And I don't think I get to kill ghosts in one hit anyways. Not again. So that is a 6 and 8. No, 7, but yeah.
So on a hit, your strike lands, deal your weapons harm. What is your weapons harm? I can't remember. Is it?
I think it's just a cutlass, so 2.
Okay. On a 7, you stumble, trade blows, or put yourself in a bad position. You choose.
Just for the sake of asking about the rules, am I basically immune to harm, or would I just suffer the harm after this scene finished?
I think that the effect of harm has no effect while this scene is in process, but you will still take harm. You're just going through the pain because the captain has inspired you so to do.
I think then I put myself in a bad position.
Okay, I think that you charge at him, you do this slash, but I think probably you stumble a bit, and I'm going to have you act with disadvantage on the next roll. Captain?
Well, sometimes you do have to help the troops out, so I think I shall leap in with my cutlass and attempt to cut one of these undead down.
I mean, it has to be Captain Magda, doesn't it?
Of course, captain versus captain. So yes, basically walking through the entire melee, there's swords, there's Morgana breathing fire and everything, there's Percival going down, Lucia jumping and swinging everywhere and whipping things. I basically just make my way through the crowd, and stood in front of me is Morgana. And I will attempt to...
I think Magda, we see the eye contact in this scene, and she kisses the blade and makes a slight bow and takes guard. Have at, Captain, she cries.
Yeah, basically, while she's down and kissing her blade, none of that, and I just dive in. So 4 dice plus
4
blood.
dice.
I have no blood, or in fact, I may even have minus blood. -1. Okay, so rolling 4 dice, what do I get? Not that great, actually. That's pretty poor. A 4 and a 5. So 9 -1, 8.
I mean, that's not bad.
It's not bad, but 4 dice, 2 1s, pretty poor.
So again, you inflict 2 harm on Magda.
Yeah.
But on a 7 to 9, you stumble, trade blows, or put yourself in a bad position. You choose.
I will trade blows.
Okay, then you take 2 harm from her. She has a rapier, I think. She's a bit more subtle than you are. What does a rapier do? Anybody help me? Rapier, 2 harm. Close, pretty. Do you have any armor? Remember, there is armor in this game.
I do. Yes, I have light armor.
Well, which is worth 1, I think. Yes.
I think so. Yes, a slight graze.
Well, it's a shame that rapier is close, pretty, and 1 piercing, so it ignores the armor and punches through the leather jerkin to give you 2 harm.
That's a dirty move, Alan. That was a dirty move.
Just exploring the mechanic. What can I tell you? Lucia, I think we come to.
So I have a question, because last time we were at the port, I bought this book, and it says the book is dangerous for some reason. Can I...
Is now the time to find out?
Yeah. I don't know how magical this world is. Because...
How would you like it to be?
I would like to enchant Morgana to give her the aura of wind, because I think the book might be called The Gun with the Wind, but it's an actual magical book. And I'm just reading from it, and we can see that Morgana's aura just becomes the same color than my whip, the aura of my whip, and so I think now she gets like +1 harm or something, so her dragon breath will be enhanced.
Okay. Well, I mean, it says book
that
dangerous
works.
requires vinegar, so I'm going to make you roll with vinegar to activate it.
Take +2 forward. This is impressing the shit out of me.
So let's see if your invocation from this works, because I'm quite liking now your first point, which was begone, foul creature of the night. And now you're flicking through the book and saying creatures, night, begone, got it. And so you are now going to try to cast this spell to help Morgana. So go with it. Let's have you, I think, just roll plus vinegar. And if it's 7+, it works.
It's an 8. Vinegar is 0. And I think the +2 forward was only to woo. Right?
Yeah,
so it's an 8.
But I think what I'm going to let you do is to say, so on 7+, it works. So I'm going to give Morgana +1 forward. In fact, I'm going to give you +1 ongoing for this scene, I think, in this circumstance. But it's going to be success at a cost. So what seems like a reasonable cost? I think the reasonable cost is that this will be ongoing as long as Lucia continues to read from the book.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Fair?
Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable.
Okay. So she is reciting verses from this.
I'm on my knees and I'm holding the book in one hand and the other hand is raised to the sky, and I'm shouting and I'm yelling and I'm cursing, and Morgana is literally a dragon.
Is this actually the Bible? I'm just curious.
Well, maybe the cover said Bible once, but then somebody crossed it out and wrote Gone with the Wind above it.
Fine. So Morgana, you have +1 ongoing as long as, or +1 forward as long as Lucia reads it. What do you want to do, Morgana?
I think this is the scene we finally see her signature weapon, because it is a gutting dagger, which would be very violent for a PG-15 movie normally, but these people are undead. And, I mean, she's in a tunnel. Percival and Captain Klaus are in front of her. She can't blow fire because that'll take them out too. So she unhinges the dagger, and I think it just begins zipping forward, like cutting into ghosts and zipping past, cutting into another ghost. And I'm going to activate fisticuffs to try and take on every spirit that I can get my dagger on.
So fisticuffs requires you to mark either angry or bloodthirsty. Again, it doesn't have an effect because of Klaus's command. And remember, you have a rank with these things temporarily.
Yes.
So is it angry or bloodthirsty?
Bloodthirsty.
It sounded bloodthirsty to me, actually. And so you barrel into them, just taking them out. So Klaus is with Magda. Percival is with the big bloke. The other kind of lieutenant character we've got to play with is actually her lieutenant. So I think it's him, and then Klaus's crew. Oh no, it's the ones you blew off the ship behind that. So it's the lieutenant and the band of Magda's sailors. Let's see how this goes then.
Okay. That is a 10, thanks to blood and that +2 with the ongoing and the so yeah.
So in this circumstance, using this gutting weapon, it says your fists are 2 harm close weapon. Your gutting knife is 2 harm. When you want to bust through something, take the angry bloodthirsty. If you're both blah, 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 on a hit, you destroy any object in your way. And so we see this thing empowered by Lucia's prayers stroke invocation. And it tell me, what does that look like?
I think like Morgana is running forward, and then like she makes a stabbing motion, and then like this breeze that is unnatural under the earth sweeps past the pages of the book are just blowing wildly, and Lucia. I think Lucia's voice is now echoing on this wind. It's Lucia's words of curses on this wind, and they rip through the like that guy is turning around about to show his full head, but the wind rips through him before he can. He is literally like the Resident Evil movie with that hallway with the lasers. Like they just sort of like desegment, and the CGI sweeps them away down the tunnel as they.
They are literally torn to shreds.
Yep.
And rather like those ones that went up in those kind of cinders when you breathed Percy's book at them, I think that we see them literally come apart into fragments that just evaporate. So this leaves Magda, the big fella, and now in front of you, Morgana, are the old members of Klaus's crew. Yeah, who I don't think you knew any of. You were new in. So let's go back round to Percy and the big bloke. What are you doing, Percy?
I think I would like to twist fate, perhaps.
Always keen on twist fate.
Yes, and so that is plus Spitfire. So that is 7 and 8. Can only spend bond with the captain to boost that, can't I? Really? So, or I can spend luck.
Remember, you have temporary rank with them.
Oh yeah, well I can boost that to a 10. So yeah, I boost that to a 10. Yeah.
So on a hit, pick one of the following options.
I would like to find the vulnerability in our opponents. Like, what can we do to, banish these ghosts once and for all, escape whatever effect is taking place down here?
Okay, so describe it.
I think it might be Lucia's whip. Like, I think any hit from that will just disintegrate any of the ghosts that it touches, like, instantly.
So rather than having to exchange harm and work your way through, that cursed whip could just disintegrate them.
Yeah.
And maybe you notice when she was helping Morgana with the first attack, maybe it just touched one of the crew behind, and he just disappeared. And you just put 2 and 2 together. So what do you shout then, Percy? Because she's on her knees behind you, reading verses.
I think that it's not so much shouting as I literally just lunge for it on a hip to grab it from her while she's reading the verses.
Oh, right. Lucia, will you carry on reading? Try to stop him, or what?
The hand I had risen to the sky will lay on the whip, and I will look you deep in the eyes. And what do I see? Like, what kind of vibe do I get from you?
I think I'm just I just shout out the whip, and I lunge for it. And that's all. It's just like the moment.
Because I think, Lucia, you'd have to stop reading to ask him a question.
That's why I only wanted to have the visual, like the look, because right now I don't think I have another chance to trust him. But what about maybe I recognize once I look you really deep into the eyes and I hold my whip. Would you say your demon is sort of an undead? Does he resonate with the whip, or so that's?
I think this is getting too complicated.
Okay.
Hard question, Lucia. Read or resist?
Yeah, continue reading is way more important.
Fine. So first of all, you grab the whip, and I'd like to suggest you just hit. Whenever you forsake your crewmates for personal gain and power, add 1 rank with your demon and lose 1 rank with the crewmate.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah?
So I lose a rank with, I'll lose a rank with Lucia.
And Lucia loses a rank with you.
Oh,
because
yeah.
you've taken it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Remind me to catch Mario when he comes back in. So you've grabbed the whip. Captain, Magda is fencing against your kind of swinging in.
I will still continue with the mad, unskilled swathes of the cutlass and see if I can cut her up. I am going to add the +1 rank with the enemy.
Fine.
That is 10.
Ho, ho, ho. Because it would be -1, but that's cancelled, so it's a straightforward 10. On a hit, your strike lands, so you will deal 2 harm to Captain Magda.
That's 4 in total I've hit with.
Yes, it is. And no comeback for you at all. You don't have to choose anything, do you? No. On a hit, you've gotten in, or sorry. No, that's fine. The fates may give you a special opportunity, but you'll invite some risk. Do you want an opportunity to exchange any words with Captain Magda?
Yes, I do.
The cost of that will be that if the whip comes into action, Magda will not be the first target.
That's fine. That's fine. I've killed you once. I can kill you again, Magda.
And she whispers in your ear as you know, it's one of those kind of cross swords up close, you know, like that. And she says, "Be careful what you wish for, Klaus. Once you get it, you won't want it." And then we'll do the straightforward. She takes the harm. Morgana, you burst through Percy and Klaus to get at the crew, and all that's left back there now are Klaus's old crew. What do you do, Morgana? You still have the prayers being reverted.
I think I see the ghost that actually has like that trust for me that has been leaving me jewelry. And with the wind, do I want to? Well, they are standing in front of me. I am past Magda and the captain and Percival. Screw it.
You are bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
You know, I can't compel it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I think she just takes a deep breath, deeper than she should be able to take, as like all the wind is being sucked into her lungs. And she just lets out this huge gout of fire as she screams, "I've never wanted anything you've given me." You are muted. Alan, you're muted.
Sorry. I don't necessarily want you to roll for that because I think it's such a nice, cool thing to happen. But I just want you to blow them away. But the last figure to blow away is that sailor who's been leaving you gifts. And there's that kind of...
Oh, and I think as he's fading away, Morgana reaches up, picks off the ring she had of his on her finger and throws it down.
And then he's gone. Percy, there is a couple of, I think we've got Magda gone, Lieutenant his is gone, big fella's gone. You've got the whip, but you can't get a shot at Magda.
Well, I mean, I will take care of any of the other ones that are still standing.
I think I want to give you a hard choice here. I think you could have a go at Magda, but if there's a cost, it could be that cost impacts on Klaus. And I'm going to have Grandfather whisper in your ear, go on. Now, I can't compel you. I'm
Yeah.
just saying what grandfather says.
Well, I still have those. Get rid of those weaknesses, and I can do that by, being compelled by my demon. So yeah, I think that grandfather whispers, again, kill her again. Yeah.
So you're going to try to strike.
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That is a 10.
Ho ho ho! So you're just backing off from that clinch, Klaus, when the whip just whips over your shoulder. You can hear it past your ear, and just touches her in the forehead, and she's gone.
Can we have it go by and actually take an earring of mine off? It is that close. The whip, just right at the side of my ear.
Yeah, and in slow motion, we'll see it kind of arcing away. And then we go back to real time. It goes ting as it hits the ground, and the corridor, the passageway is empty.
Good work, crew. I knew we could do it. I knew we could.
Now, I'm inclined to say that might, because I'm not sure I want to throw Savannah Sampson and anything else that's in here at you with just 15 or 20 minutes of free time. So I'm inclined to say that's the point at which that silence and roll credits. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like a quick dreams and wishes, stars and wishes, up and down, if that's okay. Just
don't forget about the after session moves.
Oh, yes. Well remembered. So, hang on. Where the bloody hell are they? Hang on. Thanks, Sawyer. That's a good call.
It's when you defeated a major foe, or gained significant treasure, or accomplished one of your character's goals during the session.
Well, I think that you've all overcome quite a lot today. So unless anybody wants to volunteer not to have that ticked, we decided last time it's those are either or, didn't we? There's just one in that. That seems a bit kind of mean, to be honest, but if that's what it says, that's what it says. Okay. Let's assume you all get one. I do want to give you something for your individual aims, though. I really do. And it just seems to me I'd like to give Captain Klaus one for activating the obsession at just the right point, I thought. I think I want to give Lucia one for that interesting use of the book she bought, because I'd forgotten all about the book, and whether you were planning this or not, it was really clever. So I think Lucia stepping outside her kind of normal bailiwick was cool. And I think Morgana, that was a really clever idea, to a narrative effect, to use the book. And Perce, I just think you've been really brave. You know, you've really put yourself on the line at any opportunity. So again, I'd like to give Perce one as well. So I think everybody gets two. I don't know if that has any effect in terms of any of the improvements, but you know.
Yes, it does.
Oh,
I have gone up.
Well,
As have I.
Oh, well, there is nowhere particularly to record improvements apart from that big notes and advanced move down the bottom. So if I could just ask you to have a look at the advanced moves, because I think you've got access to the folder with the actual rules in, so or the playbook. So have a look at those advanced moves, and we'll touch base on that before we launch into session 4 and final next week. Anything else before we do stars and wishes?
I just would give a note that I would like to improve my rank with Percival because he used the whip.
Yes, sorry, that you went blank on there, and I wasn't sure if you'd heard, but yes, please do. And okay, shall we start? We'll go we'll go captain to Morgana for stars, and then wishes back the other way. Okay. So, captain, any stars?
I really like how everybody fell in with sort of the start of the session. It did get a little bit slapsticky, and everybody played with that, and I thought that was really good. But it never went too far, because I can sometimes go a bit too far. And everybody sort of played with each other rather than somebody going a bit off. So yeah, really like that.
Apart from you and a sausage, what can I tell you? Will, any stars?
I know I really liked how we've infiltrated into this sort of weird occult, like eldritch prison place. I like the level of like supernatural stuff, and I don't know, it feels like a bit of a very a darker, slightly weirder Pirates of the Caribbean. That's pretty good.
Good. That's what we were pitching at. Oh, that's what I thought we were pitching at. Mario, any stars?
Oh yeah, to everyone really. It was so good to have like such a slapsticky and fun episode, and I think we really upped the special effects budget this episode, and I think it's a perfect timing as it's the 3rd out of 4 episodes. So yeah, I'm just super happy with how it all went, and really a special shout out to Alan because you really remembered all of the stars we had before and incorporated it in the story this time. Super thankful for that.
Thank you. Ferret, any stars?
Yes, to Percival, who is willing to hurt himself for the cause. To Lucia for just going along with everything and empowering me and making everything so great. The captain for your wonderful little jig and making me wonder why I didn't name Kingsley after you. And Alan, thank you for this. This is a fun. It's rare for me to play someone who can talk and bruise. It's usually like either or.
No, I'd endorse a lot of those stars. I did like the way that people leaned into their characters. As I say, those experts of experience, I wanted to hand those around in place of stars, really, because I thought you deserved it. And I'm pleased that you thought, because I was very worried actually when we started doing tour guides. I'll be honest with you, because I thought, hang on, I thought they'd just sneak in and that would be that. But I think we stayed just the right side of that, and I couldn't resist the misfit guards. But yeah, and I thought it was a reasonable compromise then between that and what happened afterwards. So I'm pleased you felt that we walked that line decently. Back the other way. Start with you, Ferret. Wishes.
Wish-wise, I just wish to keep this up. I think that this was like the Jack Sparrow level of Pirates of the Caribbean, where like things went jauntily off the rails, but the train did not crash.
That's fair enough. I do still have a wish, because you still haven't managed. I've still not been able to put you in a place where Heart of Gold really works. If it's okay, can I switch out? No, I think I like the ones I have. So yeah, we can, because of the compel today. I think that is fine. But the compels are coming out soon. But I am looking for a time. It's just whenever Lucia's in trouble, you're not stood next to her, and nobody else seems to be getting into that degree of trouble. But we'll see what we can do next time. Mario, any wishes?
Yeah, maybe not for the session we played, but more for I tend to find the playbooks fall a bit short on the character specific moves, or in the playbook specific moves, because yeah, that wooing is like, that seems like one in several session move, and the flourish is like once per scene, and I feel sort of when I see the introduction sentences they gave me, I don't really have mechanics for for really doing anything but impressing people. So that feels a bit flat, but I think for like for a session that's quite perfect. But yeah,
I mean,
I think
what I would do is to look at the other options, because I think because you've been very focused on impressing Morgana, there are 3 other bullets on there that are quite potent, actually, for Flourish. So I just say, think about how those would apply.
Yeah.
But what I think we'll do is a proper Thorns one at the end of next time,
Okay.
so that Whistler can have a bit of feedback, perhaps. Yeah. But I think the point. I think that they're very general. They're not very general.
Yeah. True.
Will, any wishes?
No, I don't really know. I think maybe a wish to speak to the grandfather or invoke some of that a bit more. And maybe just an opportunity to use some of the weirder magic stuff than in at least one. I don't want it to be, I feel like we did a lot of the magic this time. I don't necessarily want it to have to continue like into this level of it. Like I really love the ghosts and everything, but I guess like I would like to do that whole angle of this character, of this playbook, at least, a little bit more next session. And I can't, some of them are very practical ones and some of them are more like fantastical. So maybe more of the fantastical stuff.
If you want to drop something in the Hangouts chat about which one you like, is there an effect you want to be able to put in place? Put that in
or
there. I'll do my best.
Maybe just like interactions with grandfather in a more, like that kind of that aspect of it, perhaps.
What I was thinking was that we'd start next time with you carrying on in these tunnels and give you a chance for interaction either with one another or with your, portable demon, for instance. And Paul, any wishes?
Probably this links in with what Mario said about the playbook specific moves. Pretty much I'll always use command. Bond, I still don't really get that well. And the last one, the white whale, which I used once I'd really like to see that used a bit more. I can see me being quite a sort of a coward type character, so selling other characters out. I would like to see that sort of at least once per session, being able to sort of scum somebody over, not nastily, send them down a slide or portcullis comes down and crops them off or something. I think it's a really good move. It's got a huge bonus as well, but we can make it look good. That's what I'd like to see. I'm not really concerned about the bonus.
I think it's at the expense of your crewmates. I think let's look to try to put
say no more.
Put you the right side of the pit in Indiana Jones. My wishes, I think, are I think that today Bond and luck and how these interacted and how compels work, it feels to me like we're getting a grip on some of these mechanics. They seem to flow more naturally this time, because there's quite a lot in this, I think, in terms of rules. I think if we can keep that smoothness going, then all the better. But apart from that, I will say thank you very much. I'm about to end the broadcast, so wave goodbye. Goodbye, YouTube land.